Thank you for joining us. My name is Josh, for those of you who don't know me. Today we're going to be doing the March box for Daily Feast, Asian comfort foods. We're coming to you live from the Daily Feast headquarters. Before we start, I just wanted to dedicate today's cook-along to my grandmother who passed away recently. She was a huge influence in my life culinarily. I also just want to dedicate this to all my friends and family for all the support from all of you. So thank you so much. Hi, Chef Terry. So for any of you who are cooking, please have your ovens up to 350. I don't see any people cooking along right now, so we're going to hop right into it. The first thing we're going to make today is our brown butter coconut mochi cake. So for that, we're going to turn our oven on to 350, preheat our oven. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to melt our butter. Switch cameras here. So you want your butter completely melted. You're going to do this before you start making anything else for the cake. That way, when you add your butter into the mixture, it's not going to be hot and it's not going to cook anything else because we have eggs in our mixture as well. We don't want to make scrambled eggs with our mochi cake. So Amy, I see you over there. Go ahead and throw your butter in, get it on the stove. And you can have it going while we're doing the rest of it. You really just want to make sure that you don't burn your butter. It can turn brown, which is going to be great. It's going to add some nuttiness to the flavor of your cake. It's just going to be that much better. So it should be like this. You shouldn't have any chunks. Those things you see floating in the butter right here, those are the milk fats. So when you heat up the butter, it separates. Give me a thumbs up when you're good there, Amy, and we'll hop on. All right. So we have our melted butter. We're going to take it off the heat and set it to the side. And we're going to start assembling our cake here. So we have one box of our mochiko flour here. This came in the box. This is rice flour, so this is gluten-free. We have 1 can of our coconut milk, which came in the box as well. You're going to need this. So in this bowl right now, we have 1 box of mochiko flour. We have 2.5 cups of sugar. We have 2 teaspoons of baking powder and a pinch of salt. So we're going to set this aside. All our dry ingredients are in 1 bowl. Next, we're going to assemble our wet ingredients. So we have our 4 eggs here that we've broken into a bowl. And what we're going to do is we're going to just lightly whisk them so that they are all beaten. You just want to make sure you don't see any separation between the yolks and the whites. You want to see a nice combined finished product here. We're looking good right there. Next, we're going to add in our coconut milk. You can take your spatula, so you should have a spatula here. We're going to just make sure we get all that coconut goodness in here. Yeah. And then next item is going to be our teaspoon of vanilla extract. I'm just eyeballing it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to give it a nice whisk one more time just to get all of our wet ingredients combined. You shouldn't see any streaks of vanilla extract in there. You shouldn't see any yellow from the egg. It should just be all one nice pale, like yellowy white color. So that's our finished wet ingredient bowl right there. So our next step, are you doing good over there, Amy? Keeping up?
Listen, I walked in the door 4 minutes ago. Nothing is really ready. I am going to try to lag behind, but there's no way I'm going to be able to keep up. But that's okay. I'm learning.
No, we'll get you there.
That's all right.
All right, so now we have our bowl of dried ingredients here. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna put our wet ingredients in there. Take our spatula, get all that liquid in there. It's all gonna be really important for the finished product. And then we're gonna whisk it. So what we're looking for is we want a nice, smooth, finished consistency. You see there's a lot of lumps in here from the flour. We're gonna dig down, get all that flour off the bottom of the bowl. You're gonna see as your liquid's gonna start thickening up. Then you're gonna have to put a little bit of elbow grease into it. So we're mixing well here. So when I'm about 3/4 of the way there, this is where I'm gonna add my butter in. I have enough dry ingredients in here mixed with my wet ingredients. I don't have to worry about the hot butter cooking or anything. My butter's cooled down a little bit. So we're gonna add our butter in right now. Get all those milk fats are really important that we have in there. So make sure we get everything out of the pan. Then we're gonna give it a whisk just to finish our combining of all the ingredients. You can see our batter's really starting to smooth out. Getting a nice smooth texture. Everything's really well combined. So we have a pretty smooth batter there. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna take our spatula and we're gonna run it around the bowl. So what happens is when you mix the wet into the dry ingredients like that, you'll see flour will stick to the bottom of the bowl. When you go to mix, put your cake into the cake tin, you're gonna have chunks of flour in there. It's not ideal. So what I'm doing is I'm scraping my spatula along the sides of the bowl. I'm going underneath to get everything from down there. I'll grab my whisk one more time, just to give it one more good combining. And that's it. That is our mochi cake batter right there. Super simple. This dessert is great because it's gluten-free. It's vegetarian. Really great for a lot of people that have dietary restrictions. So we have our pan here now. So I like to grease the pan just a little bit. What you're gonna see with the mochi cake, it's not gonna finish like your traditional cake. It's not gonna be fluffy and airy inside. Mochi cake's gonna be very dense and it's gonna be sticky. So when you go to get this cake out, what you're gonna see is there can be a tendency to stick. So I like to just use a little bit of just pan stick spray. I get the butter flavor. And we're not going crazy. We don't wanna bathe our pan in this spray because what's gonna happen is this conducts heat. So as we're taking this and we're putting it on, I'm just gonna keep maybe like a 12-inch distance here. I'm just gonna get a nice quick coat. There we go. We have our spatula and we're just gonna get it nice into our pan here. Scraping the sides of the bowls. We want all that mochi cake batter in there. All right. So very important part of the mochi cake. After you get your cake into this pan, the mochi cake, if it has air bubbles in it, what you'll notice is when you cook your mochi cake, you're gonna get these giant air bubbles that turn into craters. So you won't have a nice, clean edge, smooth top. You'll see these giant air bubbles that when you pull the cake out of the oven, it's gonna deflate and it's gonna leave a crater in your mochi cake. So what I like to do is I'll take my pan and I'll bang it on whatever surface I'm working on. And what this does is it releases any air bubbles that are in your batter. So as you're doing this, you'll tend to see bubbles popping up to the top. Those are trapped air bubbles in your batter. Cool, so we're good. And the other thing with the mochi cake is right now you can see how close it is to the edge of my pan. When this goes in the oven, it's going to get bigger, much bigger. So I always put it on the sheet tray. Nothing's worse than having to get cake batter off the bottom of your hot oven. It's not fun at all. So I'm gonna put it on the sheet tray. And then we're gonna put it in the oven at 350. I like to start it at 40 minutes. And then what I do from there is I'll pull my cake out. I wanna see a nice golden crust on the outside. So we'll go pop it in the oven. Set our timer. So I'm gonna put 40 minutes to start. There we go.
Hey Josh, we've got a question. Is this something that they can make in a mixer?
So that's a great question. I was gonna bring that up. So yes, you can make it in a mixer. The one thing you want to really avoid doing is over mixing your cake too much, which can happen in a mixer. You saw when I mixed it by hand here, it really wasn't a lot of work. What happens is the air bubbles that we talked about when we were banging the air bubbles out of the pan, if you do it in a mixer, you're going to incorporate a lot more air into your cake. So you can totally do it in a mixer, but don't do it for a long period of time. Just do it the same as we did here, just so you get combined. All the ingredients get combined, at which point you can take it out, put it in your pan, bang the air bubbles out of it, and then throw it in the oven.
And the other question is, could you add anything to this batter?
Absolutely. So I played around about a month ago, and I got some ube extract, which is a purple sweet potato. There's pandan, so you can add both those things to your cake. They're awesome. You get cool colors. The ube is a bright purple. The pandan's a bright green. So really still having that coconut flavor, but you're bringing in a little bit of more Asian flavors to it. So you get the pandan with the coconut, which is a great combination, and the ube as well. Does anyone have any other questions before we move on?
How would you serve this? Anything on top?
So I like to serve it with ice cream, preferably coconut, mango, ginger. Those are all really good. We have coconut ice cream that we're going to serve it with in the end. I like mint with it. We have some crystallized ginger. So I like to put the crystallized ginger underneath the ice cream so it anchors my ice cream to the plate. You can easily sprinkle it on top of the cake, on top of the ice cream. It's really good with it. Yeah, that's what I like to put on it. You can really put anything you want. Once you try the cake, it's incredibly versatile. You could put chocolate on it. Andy and I were talking about it, and you know, his son likes to put chocolate on it. They love it like that. You can really put any additions to it you want. It's really a versatile cake with pretty balanced flavors. So it's open to any additions you want on it. Cool. So we're gonna clean up real quick. Let's move our stuff over here. And we are going to start with our coconut seafood red curry.